Hello Year 7 and welcome to our newest YouTube video. This video is being made in preparation for your Black Harvest assessment, which is going to be early next week. That's the week beginning the 30th of April rather. So we're going to look in this video at a model response from the type of question you've seen on every assessment you've taken so far. So first of all, let's start with that and look at the question. The question is right up here at the top, and it was, how does Gawain show he is brave in this poem? Key words. You're focused on the text you've been given in the assessment and not anything else. Use evidence from the poem and explain what it means. So that's the question, and the question on that assessment was worth 8 marks, which is generally what it's worth on all of your assessments. And this is the type of question where you've got to look really closely at the text that you've been given, find bits of evidence that answer or support that question, and then explain or analyze what they mean in your own words. So this is a sample response that a student wrote, and they gained full marks for this question. So they got 8 marks out of 8. We're going to have a look at why the student managed to get those marks, but also how the student can still improve their work just a little bit to help prepare them for the next stage in their writing. Okay, so the first thing you notice if you're looking at this response, it's worth 8 marks, and look at how much this student has written. We've typed it up here, but you can see this is a really chunky response. So they've written lots and lots of information, which is great. So they definitely have enough there to earn 8 marks, assuming that what they've written is appropriate to the question. So the length is already good. So that's one of the first things I'm going to note. I'm just going to put that down here. Length. Okay. So the next thing I want to see is whether or not the student has really focused on the question like we asked them to do. So let's look at the first sentence. Gawain shows he is brave in the poem by... So straight away, the student has copied the language from the question. The question was, how does Gawain show he is brave? And the student has said, Gawain shows he is brave in the poem by... So really echoing at the beginning that language from the question to make sure that the student is focused on what she should be focused on. Okay, and then we get a little summary of what's happened. Completing the journey to the chapel even though he knows his fate. So that's a great thing the student has done. This is a little summary of what's going on in the text. It's not a long summary. It's only a few words here. But it's actually really helpful because it shows me, the teacher, the person who's marking this piece of work, that I know the student understands what has happened in the text. And the student follows it up with a quote, "You have timed your arrival like a true traveler." Okay, so that's a bit of evidence that's right there, and I'm going to label that. And let's add to this list down here. So the first thing I said was about the length. The second thing I said was echoing the language from the question in first sentence. That's this bit here. The next thing I said was that they included a really short summary. And that shows me they know what's going on in the story. And finally, I said they've got some evidence. Evidence is really important. And one of the other things I like about the way this student has used evidence is they've made it really clear by using these marks. Right? So it's really obvious where the student has used evidence. In fact, if I go through, I've got those marks there, but I might just highlight using pink here all the evidence that the student has included. You have timed your arrival like a true traveler, and welcome to my world after all your wandering. And we have some more down here. Won't whisper a word of unwillingness or complaint. I'll stand stock still. He vowed to take the blade and bared his neck and nape, but loath to look afraid, he feigned a fearless state. So everything I've highlighted in pink is evidence. So this question is worth 8 marks. Let's just see how much evidence the student has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of evidence. You can see they're not all long either.